Nicholas, are we live?
Maybe.
I
Maybe
got a
not.
question. This is maybe uh
Oh no, it's happening again. Joe just got knocked out of the studio. Oh goodness, I wonder if he even knows. Oh man. So he's gonna be so mad. Oh no, dude. It's 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 gotta be StreamYard. I don't know what's going on.
yeah, it's just never happened.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So if you're watching the stream live, if you're catching it a little bit later, Joe and I recently had some issues. We were doing a fireside chat, and this has started happening where and I'm going to give you a second, Joe, as you get set back up. You got to turn your camera off because that's the only resolution, unfortunately, I think, to this. But Joe has been getting kicked out of the studio from StreamYard for some friggin' reason. It's the strangest thing. I've never seen it before. So we're going to see. Yep. As soon as I let him back in, he's getting booted. So we're gonna have to figure this out with StreamYard at some point. It's good timing before Joe goes on his vacation. So yeah, there we go. All right, let's see how we do now. Are you good, Joe?
I'll tell you what. Conspiracy theory. It didn't happen. Didn't happen until we were on the Dork special podcast there.
Ooh,
I think Goo's gone into the StreamYard, sabotaged it.
Oh, that would be something. This is maddening. I will say
this is driving me fucking nuts. I'm bonkers. But it's okay. We're gonna, you know what? This is why we're the podcast of the year, because we power through shit like this, Nicholas.
Damn right.
Is there a way? Right. I know we're talking a little, how the sausage is made.
I told everybody what happened.
Right. Is there a way where you could put like a stock image of me up there?
Yeah, I'll look for one of you real quick.
Right.
You go ahead and do your little intro.
Oh, okay. So this is a friendship defining question, Nicholas.
Oh boy.
What is your favorite Dorito?
Oh, my favorite Dorito. I'm so basic, Joe. I'm between Cool Ranch and nacho cheese.
Okay. No, that is the correct answer until there's been this new wave of flavored Doritos out there, Nicholas. And there's ketchup, there's pickle, there's sriracha, there's a whole slew. There's a queso one. But I gotta tell you, Nicholas, I think my new all-time favorite Dorito is the hot mustard.
Ooh,
Dorito. It's that Chinese food spicy hot mustard.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't like kick you in the ass like that does, but it's got that flavor and it's got a level of heat to it. It's nice.
Ooh, interesting.
It's nice, Nicholas.
I don't think I've had a Dorito. I don't think I've had a Dorito since Nam. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's been that long.
Treat yourself every now and then, for fuck's sakes. Christ, Nicholas. Well, I gotta say, this is more than maddening. But if you can find a stock, do you need me to send you one?
You need to actually, I think, input that. So why don't you do your normal intro?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna, because the listeners may not know, the viewers are gonna know what's going on.
Yeah. This is not great podcasting. But for those on the YouTubes, this is ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages. TLDR Studios proudly presents to you one frustrated friggin' podcaster. But we are, nevertheless, Nicholas, the greatest podcasting team in the world. He is the comic book writer, Nick Fryer. I am the faceless doctor. Together we are the TLDR Comic Book Club. Baby. All right, Nicholas, you do some plugging and I'll figure this shit out.
Yep, I just sent you a pic for you to possibly use. You probably have that saved somewhere else. But I will say that you managed once again to make it impossible for me to cut out the issues that are having right now. You've once again lampooned yourself where I gotta leave it all in so everybody has context for why you're upset in our intro. But on a much lighter and happier note. We have been busy bees lately. If you subscribe to our audio channels, you already know that. Make sure you do if you have not already. That's Apple, Spotify, Geeks Worldwide Radio, Audible, Amazon Music, all those good places and more. Make sure you subscribe there because it's the only place you're going to find our Fireside Chats, which are conversations with creators from across the industry. Recently, we had Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan back on the show. No Bob Quinn. They muscled him out. I was a little bit bothered by that. They had a lot of things to say off air about Bob, who, Joe and I hold near and dear to our heart. He was the artist of the year for me from the Floppies in 2024. But we chatted with them about a ton of stuff that they have come up. They got this Boom title coming up. I'm blanking on it right now. I think it's Blink and You'll Miss It. Outstanding. It's going to be coming in August. And but we also have a book, their first Marvel book that's out this week. It's a one-shot. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we always have a great time talking with Ethan and Griffin. And what you guys have to look forward to, because we already have this one in the can, I can tell you that Ed Brisson is joining the show. He's got a book from Mad Cave coming out right after the 4th of July, Wild Animals. We talked with him about that a ton. Some of his other work, including The Displaced, which Joe and I raved about all throughout 2024. An absolutely outstanding series. You can go get that in trade form. I had such a great time, Joe, talking with Ed about all of his books because he had a couple moments where he just explained a few different things about Wild Animals. He did the same thing about Displaced, and it was just like, wow, you just enhanced my experience so much. I can't wait to go back and reread The Displaced because of what he said, and I can't wait for more of Wild Animals because of what he revealed about how he views this story.
Yeah, it was excellent. A lot of really great insight into both those books. And I'll tell you this right now, folks. If you haven't already, go out and buy The Displaced. Go buy the trade paperback. Right. Increase those sales, baby, because he's got more Displaced story in the hopper. Should the interest be there. So do that. But make sure you check out Wild Animals when it drops. And it was a hell of a chat. I had a lot of fun talking with Ed. I had a lot of fun talking with Ethan and Griffin, even though they made some disparaging comments about me. I will always take the high road with those two fine gentlemen.
They're always a good time. And speaking of friends of the show, frequent friends of the show, I should say, we do actually have a quick early look that we want to do this week, Joe. John Leese has a little ditty coming out over at Mad Cave. I think this is his first Mad Cave title that we're going to be getting. The FOC for this is July 16th. It hits shelves on August 6th. And I'll tell you what, man, Orla issue 1. What a series. Before I get into the synopsis, this is written, of course, by John Lees with art by Sally Cantorino, colors by Deirbla Kelly, and then letters by Lucas Gattoni. Orla Bard is an antique restorer, romance novel enjoyer, and keen birder. I don't know if we saw that in this issue. No, I remember that now. She also believes in true love, continuing to navigate Seattle's single scene despite repeated disappointment. God, Joe.
I told you I'm supposed to read the synopsis, but
you are.
You keep barging in.
Don't worry. I'm definitely gonna let you do that soon. But Orla has a secret. She is affected with the ick, a man-eating monstrous entity dwelling inside her, who violently emerges whenever she gets too angry or afraid. Unable to rid herself of this curse, Orla uses the ick to save other women by removing the scummiest men from the dating pool permanently. Hearts and bodies will be broken in this offbeat rom-com creature feature mashup.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and so one of the things I loved about Sync, right, and I love about Sync, is that John's got a naughty side. And he also has a violent side. And those two things seem to come together, in one issue in Sync in particular, but there's some scenes in this first issue that had me howling. One involved a pair of butt cheeks, which Which just I literally laughed out loud. And then you can tell John put a lot of heart into this book, both like in the writing, in the character, but also he had a lot of fun with it too. So this is a hell of a series. You're gonna want to make sure you put it on your pull list. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's horror, it's humor, and Sally's art. It's a perfect mashup. Her art fits this story perfectly.
Yeah, Orla is Orla is the unapologetic hero that we need right now. Like, we get a lay of the land in this first issue, and then as kind of things move along, there's stuff that you see in the synopsis that is explained, and we see kind of unfold in this first issue. And then two big problems start to brew for Orla. One that was kind of teased throughout the story, and then one that's a little bit more unexpected, but I love that element that's going to be added to the mix as the story goes along. I'm very excited to see how the entirety of this story unfolds.
Yeah, right. should be a lot of fun.
Let's move into what we got new this week. No catching up for us this week. We're going to forego that. And actually, a quick note before we get into what's new. We are not going to have what's new next week. We're just going to have that Ed Brisson chat that is dropping. So again, make sure you subscribe to all of our audio channels. Leave a 5-star rating and review. That said, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, where you can find all our videos that we put out. I may put some stuff out while Doc is in parts unknown. But while we won't have that what's new, we always try and have something for you guys every single week. And usually we have 2 things for you guys every single week. So that Ed Brisson chat is going to be the only bit of audio from us. But Joe, why don't we get into what's new? What do we got? A big week from Marvel. What do we got?
Holy smokes, do we have a week from Marvel? A lot of books, a lot to talk about, my friend. And some of these books we normally talk about, there's just so much. There's so many things to talk about.
Yeah.
We've got Ultimate Wolverine issue 7, X-Men issue 19, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 7, The Avengers issue 28, Daredevil issue 23, The Immortal Thor issue 25, all new Venom issue 8, Spider-Gwen, The Ghost Spider issue 15, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe One Last Time issue 4. This is the penultimate issue. Wolverine issue 8, Jedi Knights issue 5, X-Men Hellfire Vigil issue 1, Wolverines and Deadpool issue 1, Prelude to a Future Past issue 1. This is written by oh Jesus Christ, who wrote that? Claremont, Chris Claremont. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ, Joseph. And Marvel Zero, and those aren't even the heavy hitters this week, Nicholas. Why don't where do you want to lead off?
Oh, you know where I want to lead off, and it's with your Chip and Valerio Schiti. Captain America issue 1. Chip's too damn good, man. I mean, this is freaking crazy. We've seen him do so much good work over the years, but my goodness, like you get Captain America, and as much as I expect Chip to do well with this, I'm also like, there's high expectations because he's freaking Chip Zdarsky. He's done such a good job, and you're going to take on this other crucial character in Marvel's history. I'm hoping that you deliver, and he did, and he taught me something about exactly what I need from Steve Rogers every time I'm reading a Captain America comic. And I think it's kind of highlighted why Chris Evans' interpretation of the character was so successful and hit so hard for everybody. He's so humble. His humility needs to be at the front and center with Steve Rogers because he's such an impressive individual, but he never forgets where he comes from. Not all that said, I don't think I've ever experienced like Steve Rogers, unless it's like an alternate, Steve Rogers, where he's like cocky or overconfident or not thinking about the people, like, the little people or whatever. But there's something where it's like sometimes it can like kind of motivate him in certain ways, but then there's also times where, again, with like what we're seeing in this first issue and what we saw with Chris Evans' version on the big screen, where it kind of is the driving force of how he moves through the world. So I loved that element of it, and I thought it was just massive for me as a reader, kind of to see that right away and get a better understanding of what I value so much in my version of Steve Rogers, Captain America. A couple other quick things. We see, Captain America's timeline for when he comes out of the ice. It's kind of changed a little bit from a legacy standpoint. Still very much works. Still totally, doesn't betray that whole idea of that history. And then we're also seeing a new player enter the mix, that one that you empathize with, but you also could see turning into a bit of a wild card.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing, right? So I think the pitfalls that happen with Steve Rogers a lot of time when writers and creators are tackling him is that he's either one or the other. He's either like too goody gumdrop two shoes, or he's a little too sort of high and mighty up on his high horse, right? And I think what Chip does really well is exactly everything that you said, right? He's humbled. There's a sense of duty. There's a sense of purpose beyond him, right? And I love how I knew Chip was gonna absolutely knock it out of the park, and I love the subtle change with the timeline there in terms of when he came, and I love how that's how they sort of started the story, sort of his reintroduction into this modern world. It just gave a nice fresh coat of paint to the character. And then you're right, this new character that we're introduced to, there is very much a wild card vibe to them, right? And I think I can't wait to see where this story goes and how that character evolves, and just what Chip does with this book in general. I think this is going to be a book we talk about monthly, hands down.
Yeah, it is. And as much as we expected that, I'm so pumped that that's the case, because like it's just, I mean, like Captain America didn't have it on my bingo card this year, like until we found out that Chip was writing it. I was like, oh, I can't wait to read a Captain America title. And man, just great start from Chip and his team on this one. And also, like on that note too, like speaking of his team, like with Valerio's art style, like I absolutely love that. It's funny because did you feel like it was reminiscent of Chichetto's art style?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A
little bit. It fit. It was just like, this was like, everything about this to me just screamed a Chip Zdarsky book. And it was the thing that I would differentiate between this and say a Daredevil, his run on Daredevil, and Chichetto's art on that was fantastic. The colors, there was a vibrancy, right? Like Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, it's supposed to be dark and drab, and then you sort of add the emotional, pity, and you add that layer to it, and it's supposed to have darker tones, to have a darker feel to it. It's Captain America. He stands for, as a beacon of hope, and so like the colors were vibrant and it reflected that, and everything about this was just excellent.
The colors with him were vibrant. I mean, they were kind of vibrant with the other one, but there was a different texture in the other story that we spent a lot of time.
Well,
so it kind of plays into it all. It's just a complete book. If you're picking up a number one this week, we always talk about indie titles. So we love indie titles. They always have amazing stories. We get to meet some cool new characters, and you don't have the guardrails that the big two have. But Chip, he's a guy who always knows how to fucking elevate his characters in a big way. And I think when you're talking about number ones this week, Joe, there's another one that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but this was my favorite number one that we got. There is a number one, though, that you want to discuss from Jason Aaron and Aaron Kuder, also from Marvel.
Well, yeah. So Marvel's gave us a couple of one shots, this week, and I wasn't going to read this book and then I was like, oh shit, Jason Aaron wrote it. I'm 100% going to read this, because I don't typically read Godzilla books, but then I also read one by, Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan. So I'm like, you know what? Let me give another Godzilla book a try. And so we have Godzilla vs. Thor. Issue one is a one shot written by Jason Aaron, with art by Aaron Kuder. A lot of double A's in the creators' names this week.
Yeah.
But this was a ton of fun. There was two things that happened in this book that I never would have guessed in a million years. Now you're telling me Godzilla versus Thor, so I know to expect Godzilla and I know to expect Thor. How they were going to merge those two things, I had no idea. And that was part of the fun, right? That was the ride that we were on. But one of the major players in this, I would not have seen coming in a million
Ooh.
years. Zero
Ooh.
way I would have guessed this. And they referenced another book by Jason Aaron that he wrote last year, right? That we loved very much.
Oh,
And then they
okay.
bring in another element that I never would have guessed in
Ooh.
a million years. And this book was just the build up, the pacing was great. And then once Thor makes his presence into this book, it is just non-stop action. But it was those two things that I just didn't see coming. And one of them happens like legit right off the rip, first page. Like, oh fuck, okay.
Oh, wow.
All
Wow.
right.
I'm skimming through it right now, everybody. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
jeez. Damn, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh,
So
this is great.
this would have been had I been around, 4th of July is a tough day to put out stuff because we got to celebrate our independence and all. Um,
Mm.
this 100% would have been my gem of the week because I never would have expected loving this book as much as I did. Godzilla versus Thor, excellent, one shot. Go out, pick it up,
Yeah.
read it. You'll enjoy it very much.
Damn, if you like some just massive, like loud,
Yeah.
crazy action in a series, like, oh my god, this is a
It,
comic you have to pick up.
it's a popcorn comic, right? Pop that popcorn, you're on for a hell of a ride. So this was a lot of fun.
I just want everybody to know. I want to make sure you mean that in the, like, obviously you mean that in the sense of like with popcorn movies, but you're never going to actually read a comic and have popcorn by your side, right? Because that's just lunacy to me.
Oh God, no. Well, so
Good.
most times, Nicholas, we're reading comics off our iPad.
Very true.
Right. So I'm not but yeah, no, I'm not a savage. I'm not gonna get, buttery
Yeah.
goodness all over the pages of my comic books, Nicholas.
Dude, I buy the floppies like you do still, like as much as we get.
Oh, I got a
copies.
stack that I'm bringing
But-
on vacation with me, but
Excellent. But I so many times won't read it. I only read it in the floppy form if I have to, because I'm like, my hands are so sweaty. And I'm, as much as I'm not a collector, I've said this to you before, I don't want to ruin the book. Like, it's,
well, it's all that bullfrog you used to wipe off your hair onto that baseball to get some movement on it.
Yeah. But dude, bullfrog and sunscreen. When I found that out, I was like, there's no way. And then it was like everybody's doing it. I was like, what the fuck? There's so many things that I'm like, how did I not hear about this?
You might have been able to get Jake Cronenworth out if you put a little junk on that ball, you know?
Wait a minute. I did get him out one time. He went 2 for 3, but I got him out once.
Okay.
Yeah, I got him out once. Anyways, we got one more one shot. I didn't realize Godzilla versus Thor was a one shot. We got one other one shot that we absolutely have to talk about because we just had Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan on the show. The artist on this one shot is Matteo Delafonte. Bring on the bad guys, Green Goblin. And we didn't get to read this before we talked with the guys. And I want to know you want to dig into it, Joe. They absolutely delivered with this.
Oh, this was awesome. This was I want to say this was borderline terrifying. And I just mean that from like holy cow. And now they when you go back and you listen to that chat, they will tell you how much Green Goblin means to them and sort of where they put him on their pantheon of baddies, of Spidey's rogues gallery there.
Mm-hmm.
But they really this was twisted, man, and it was so good, so dark.
Yeah,
I mean I loved it.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing like two guys who just they became. There's plenty of us who became fans from comics of comics because of Spider-Man. I loved him as a kid. I've said before, like he's not. I'm not the Spidey guy on this show. You are, as much as I enjoy him, but like to see two guys who absolutely love Spidey, then they go and get their first thing that they do at Marvel is a one shot centered around Green Goblin and kind of talking about his origins in a way, like outstanding, but also kind of lofty, like for a start. They just, these guys continue to deliver. This is a writing pair that's going to be around for a long ass time. I love what they did with Norman Osborn. I'd love to see them do more with him because, like you said, it is terrifying. Like this character is you feel very uncomfortable the entire time, and you feel just how he slowly starts to slip bit by bit. And I think if like even if this wasn't a one shot, they could have done even more and made it even like this could have been a whole arc with these two writing the story.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Moving over to DC, we got Absolute Green Lantern issue 4, Batgirl issue 9, Birds of Prey issue 23, Justice Society of America issue 9, Resurrection Man Quantum Karma issue 4, Secret 6 issue 5, Batman 89 Echoes issue 6. I feel like we're saying that every other week. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong volume 2 issue 2. Everybody's fighting Godzilla right now. I will say though, IDW is the only one that is doing Godzilla titles exclusively. And then we got Gotham City Sirens Unfit for Orbit issue 1 and Teen Titans Go issue 5.
Yeah, okay. From Boom Studios, we have a number of books here. We have Power Rangers Prime issue 8. We have a new Dune series, Dune Edge of a Crysknife, hiding among Harkonians.
That is a tough one. I think it's actually a one shot as well.
Yeah, it's a friggin' mouthful, is what it is. And then we have let's see here, The Killer Affairs of the State 2, issue 2. And then we have a book returning, Nicholas, that did you get a chance to read?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The ending was just like, oh man, like, well, there's a couple things that happened by the end of the issue, and it was just like, whoa, like we got more to this story to explore, but I was like, oh shit, this is taking some interesting turns.
Yeah, so so with Grimm, right? It's been coming out at a little bit of a slower pace.
Yeah.
And I remember like absolutely having my doors blown off the last issue, and I didn't know how long this series is going to run for. It kind of felt like it was sort of coming, it's coming to a conclusion. So as I'm reading this issue, I was at one point I go, shit, did I miss? Is this the last issue? Because that's how it felt. It felt like we were getting the conclusion to Grimm this issue, and then you get to the end and it says to be concluded come October. So how many more issues that'll be between now and then? I can only imagine, probably just a few more. But this has been just a beautiful series from start to finish, and there's a lot that happens in this issue. It's hard to really discuss it without spoiling too much. But if you're Grimm fans and you read this, or about to read it, just know as you're reading it, there will be more. So don't. It's not time to get bittersweet just yet. But man, Stephanie Phillips really put her stamp on this series with this issue, and where it goes from here is anyone's guess.
So I'm looking right now on League of Comic Geeks, and I'm seeing that that we have Grimm issue 24 is solicited for the end of August. And then I'm not seeing anything after that. Obviously, we know we're getting that one more in October. So it's either going to be 2 or 3 more issues for this series. But yeah, I was surprised by that, but it's also very fitting because of where the story has gone and kind of, how the plot has unfolded throughout the course of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, moving over to Dark Horse, we got Arcbound issue 5, Black Hammer Spiral City issue 7, Arcana Royale issue 3, Star Wars Hyperspace Stories Codebreaker issue 2. That is the Poe Dameron series written by Ethan Sachs. Ghostbusters Dead Man's Chest issue 2, Lady Baltimore Daughters of Medusa issue 2, and then the only Mad Cave single issue that is out this week, Joe, is Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice issue 2. This is written by Frank Thierry with art by Inaki Miranda. And I didn't dig into this in the first issue when it came out, but I did talk about it in a light capacity because it has like a Batman sort of element to it. And I think if you like Batman, you want to check this out. The first issue, we get a lay of the land and what's kind of going on. This second issue, dude, holy hell, it is outstanding. Like, this was where we kind of get an understanding of what's going on in the first issue. Like, okay, this, we can see some things that are going to happen, but this second issue got really unhinged, really dark. And there's like one image in particular that's just like, fuck, dude, that is like, you don't see that in many comics. Like that is like some adult stuff that is, and it's violent. So I love that development. I did not see that coming necessarily as much as I thought this was going to be, kind of like a grittier type series. But what I also love in all this too is it's very hard to take every development in this issue at face value. There's just a few things with the way that Frank Thierry writes this story where it's like, okay, like you see the things, it's like, oh, this is a big thing, that's a big thing. It's like, wait a second. And something like causes you to ask a question. Like I feel like a few times where we get answers, you then also, have a few questions that stem off of that. And I've talked about that a lot on the show. Like I love when that happens. That just adds so much depth to the story. And you get that in the second issue of whatever happened to the Crimson Justice.
Awesome. I am going to rip us through, take us to the end here, Nicholas.
Sounds good.
From Oni Press, we have Plague House issue 4. Oh my God, that was the conclusion to that series. Now, you haven't read a single issue yet, right?
I haven't got my hands on issue 1.
Okay.
I feel like you got to do it on the show, dude.
I got to do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I'll give you issue 1, and then the rest should be in the folder. Cool. We should have those because this is a book. This is a potential like new addition to a horror list that we may make.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, we got to be due for. I mean, I don't, if Dork wants to do it again, because we did it a couple years ago.
A refresher, every other year, refresh the list.
I think we're due for refreshers. Like we'll do a refresher at some point. We did it last year, right?
Maybe.
We gotta look back at that. Maybe
we went through 4 straight main lines, I think, in October last year.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we did it 2 years ago. We did our top 10 horror comics. And I think when we discussed it last, you and I said we want to stretch that out a little bit more so we can talk about some more books.
Yeah, exactly. And then Adventure Time issue 4. From Distillery, we have Warm Fusion issue 3. From AWA Studios, we have Charlemagne the God presents Illuminati issue 1. And then from Imogen Skybound, to wrap things up here, Nicholas, or round things out. I've heard it both ways. We have The Walking Dead Deluxe. Oh, fuck. I've been on the wrong show the whole time. We have The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 116, The Scorched issue 42, Medieval Spawn issue 3, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero issue 318, Savage Twitch Case Files issue 15, Sisterhood, A Hyde Street Story issue 1. Did you read this? I meant to read this.
Yeah. It's
good?
You're gonna really like it. Yeah. It's really good. And this is I think this is supposed to be a mini series within Hyde Street. I love how they're treating Hyde Street. They're doing it's so smart.
It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It really is.
the universe they got cooking there, fantastic. Bitterroot, The Next Movement issue 4, Null Hunter issue 9, Adventureman, Family Tree issue 3, and then a number 1, Nicholas, you would like to discuss.
Yeah, and you need to give this a look. This is written by Patrick Kindlon with art by Maurizio Rosenwig, and this is 100% Joe, like a book that I think you're really gonna like. Gehenna, Naked Aggression, issue 1. The definition of breakneck pace, both in terms of action and in terms of story. Gehenna is our main character. And one thing, I was trying to make sure I had the pronunciation of her name right. We talk about this all the time, how we mess these kinds of things up. And I was like, okay, I got to be able to look up if this is a name, if this is like, I've never heard that word before, Gehenna. And it's the Hebrew word for a place or state of misery. And I love how that is so reflective of the main character in this story. Like right as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it tells me everything. And I totally get it. Like, and as you read this, you guys will totally understand that too. This is the new Vengeance comic book that you have to check out.
I think it's Gehenna, not Gehenna.
I saw Gehenna as well. You could be right. I saw both. Honestly, Joe, I have.
Because I'm just looking up the pronunciation right now on the Google device, and it says Juh, like Juh.
Yeah, that's the first. That is the first one I saw, and then I watched a couple YouTube videos, and then they said no, and then I'm seeing. I didn't play the Merriam-Webster one, and I should have checked that.
Triple sources, but anyway,
I was right. According to Merriam-Webster, I have it right. But you know what? We'll put the video out, and Patrick and Maurizio will probably correct us. So.
Yeah. And watch everyone be wrong.
Yep. That's the real twist.
That's the real twist. It's actually,
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. So I'm gonna do 2 things, Nicholas, before we reconvene. I'm gonna unplug and plug in the router again. and then I'm gonna call my internet provider and give them the what for, because I feel like this has happened in the past where like my all of a sudden like my bill this month is higher than it's been, so it's like, oh, you know how they give you like, oh yeah, you'll get this pricing for so long, and then it bumps up, and then
Yeah.
as soon as it bumps up, the quality of my internet goes down,
Oh,
right? So I think what I'm
well,
gonna
yeah.
so I'm gonna do the tried and true. I'm gonna call them up and be like, hey, listen, what's the deal? Okay, well, I'm gonna go try such and such instead. What can you give me for a deal? And then take it from there.
Dude, absolutely got to do it. Great call. And I keep thinking because we both do this. We naturally have like a level of self doubt about anything, but it's like like I told you when you like got back in and we did this when this happened with the chat with Ed, everybody too, and
Yeah,
like we didn't talk about it during the chat, but like when I told you don't be on camera anymore, it worked both times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's that. I know that's a hack for the internet. It's clearly got to be that, like, because I'm over here like, oh, maybe it's something with the StreamYard account that we use or
No,
whatever. But it's like,
it's never fucking happened before.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
5 years.
Yeah, that's so
5 years, right?
ugh.
Driving me fucking nuts. So I'm gonna make sure to do that. You make sure to keep reading, baby. Look at that, huh?